Hello everyone, welcome to this guide for Watchdog. Hopefully it's helpful. I've been asked to do this by a couple of guildmates who are trying to learn the fight, so I figured I'd just do an actual proper video. Okay, so phase one. Phase one is all about getting stacks onto the boss. These stacks are going to increase our damage on the boss and will allow us to clear the fight before the floor gets completely out of hand. So it's very important that we keep those stacks on him and get up as efficiently as possible. There's two ways to get stacks on the boss. The first one is by having a circle explode underneath him, and the other, which is the method we're going to use in phase one, is by getting him to walk over matching colored circles during the stalker phase. So to start the fight, I as tank am going to drag the boss into the middle to give everyone room around the boss to work with. During the whole fight, the boss is going to channel the missiles as a channel, which will drop a red circle under everyone's feet. These circles are larger than they appear, so you want to get well out of the circle. Don't go just out and then start channeling something. Get firmly out of the circle and then start channeling. If you do take a circle, and you will take at least one in this fight, it will give you a missile debuff, which says that the next missile will do that much more damage to you. So if you do accidentally stand in one, make sure to cleanse that debuff. Otherwise, it can get pretty punishing. So the boss is going to assign colors to everyone. So to make Stalker phase as easy as possible for the tank, we want the colors to be grouped up once we hit Stalker phase. So we like to put the blue circles by the exit over here, and we like to put the orange circles in the orange box because colors matching. So everyone is going to slowly shuffle into position. Keep in mind, you have 30 seconds to get into position, so there is no rush. It's better to kind of take your time and not accidentally bump, as these two almost do. So you can overlap most of the way, but if the edge of your circle touches someone else, then you're going to lose both circles, which means you're going to lose 2 stacks, and it's also going to do some raid-wide damage. So each color will get locked down one at a time. So here, the orange players can't move because the floor is orange. He will do a missile channel during each floor locking. So all the orange players are going to have to eat a red circle here, because if you try and move when you're locked in place, you will gain 5 stacks of a crosshair debuff, and then when you hit 5, the boss will insta-kill you. So missile damage is better than instant death, so we eat 1 here. You should pop a DCD though, just so that your healers continue to like you and want to keep healing you. So now the blue players are going to get locked over here. And we're already in position. It's all looking very square. There's the missiles. Orange players move out. So that's the end of the locking phase. So after that, so we both have been locked. When the blue players get released, we're going to get 1 more round of missiles, and then the boss is going to channel Degauss, which is where everyone drops their circles onto the floor. So when the boss channels Degauss, we want to be in position already, because it's a very short channel, so we want the colors to be where we need them. The way that we do that is we stand at we make a nice big square, so that when our red circles drop, they drop at the corners of the big square, and then we all move in diagonally and make a smaller square with our colored circles, and then they fall off, and we have 2 nice little blobs of color for the tank to run the boss through. So on this side, it's nice and easy. You just have 1 player at each corner. On the other side, you just make an imaginary square in the same kind of fashion. So 1 up here, 1 here, 1 under the boss, and 1 in this corner under the logo. The tank is going to call bait. You get into your positions. As you can see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. There's the missile channel. There's the red circles. We all close in. We make a nice happy little blob. There's the Degauss, as you can see, 1 second. So that's why we have to be in position early to make sure that goes off. 1 person gets caught out up there, I think. As the tank, so when he hits Stalker phase, if he touches the wrong color, it's basically instant death. There's instant wipe. So you want him not to be near a color when before he's about to go into Stalker phase. You could just mad dash through him or hydros through him, But if you go too far from the boss too quickly, he will just jump to you and stun you, and it causes all kinds of issues. So the best way to kind of move him backwards is to just edge forward to be about between his feet here, and then he'll start edging backwards, and you just kind of stutter forwards until he's a good distance, see either side here. So I've done this quite a few times. So I'm not going to use a DWT. However, if you're a new tank, you should probably use a DWT. So as the boss is channeling Stalker Protocol, you're going to have your DWT taunt the boss because it won't move. The boss will then turn a color. Then the DWT will run behind the circles of that color, as I'm doing now. So the boss walks through all four. As the boss hits each circle, there's going to be an explosion. So all melee DPS and healers and range, just everyone should be behind the boss at this point. The boss's melee damage is also increased, as are the missiles. So the missiles will one-shot you, and the boss's melee attacks will one-shot you. So you can't take either. That's why I'm keeping my distance here. So if I was if I had a DWT, I would have just taunted then instead of mad dashing to move around. The boss will then change color, and then I walk him through all of the reds. All the blues. As a tank, it's important to note that you're going to be getting red circles as well, so you don't want to be in the perfect position and then have to move left or right to get out of your red and cause him to miss one of the circles, because we want all the circles. So he's just touched all 8 of them, so he's got 8 lovely stacks here, so we're getting lots of damage on him. So we're now in phase 2. Phase 2 is all about getting up to 10 stacks and then just keeping him at 10, because that's the maximum, and they're on a timer. So every time we would put on a new stack, it just refreshes the timer, so we get more of that sweet max damage on the boss. The way we do that is the other way of getting stacks on him, which is by having circles explode underneath him. So there's going to be 4 beams to deal with. The beam will always be the opposite color to the tank if the tank has a circle. So because I'm orange, I'm going to need the blue players because they are going to be the opposite color to me. If I had no circle, it's going to be a random beam color, and the person just has to match the beam color. But obviously if it's random, it's harder to kind of coordinate and make sure that the right person is coming in at the right time. So as tank, I'm going to be calling for players to come in and eat the beam. When they eat the beam, they need to be directly, there we go, perfect. They want to be directly under the head of the boss. If the character was to kind of reach up with their hand directly upwards, they should be able to kind of scratch the Watchdog's chin. You can Saber Reflect the beam, you can Merc Safeguards the beam. You should definitely pop some kind of DCD because the beam is very brutal damage-wise. So when it goes off, circle explodes under the boss, and we get another stack or a refresh of stacks. The order that you should try and call people in, don't have a preset order because the colors are random, the positions are random, it's all a bit awkward and on the fly. So the tank just calls out a name, and that's the person that comes in next. That seems to be the easiest way to do it. I try and call in melee first, because once they don't have a colored circle, they don't have to worry about bumping into me or anyone else that's coming in, so it just makes it a lot safer. I'll then try and do healers, because obviously the healers like to be close to me so I don't die. And then finally range. So I'm going to call the healer in next. They're leaving a gap because the boss will always channel missiles and then do the beam. So if they leave a gap here, they can drop their red circle, then move here and wait for my red circle to go, and then they just walk straight in, and you'll see them do that pretty perfectly here. So there they are, they go in there, they've waited, and then they go into the boss. There's the safeguards, eat the beam, we're at 10 stacks, we're getting that max damage on the boss. I'm always going to have to walk backwards to give enough space, because obviously we can't overlap circles. So if you're walking the boss across the room like I am, you want to constantly push him back. The alternative is you can walk him around the edge. I found walking him through the middle gives everyone the maximum kind of area to be in, but you don't end up with 2 rows of people and the back row being completely out of range of the boss. So this gives everyone kind of the best opportunity to have maximum uptime, and the name of the game is DPS. So here's the 3rd beam. Gonna get one more player in. So after the 4th beam, the boss is going to cast Degauss, and all of the remaining circles will drop off. So if you've done this correctly, you'll have 4 colors, all of the same type. You still want them either out of the way or in a bubble, because we're going to have more Stalker phases where you need to walk the boss through. And obviously, if he touches the wrong color, when he is, if he touches the wrong color, he goes pop, we go pop, and it's game over. So the 2 ways that we do this is you either have people smush into the wall, so the color is just completely out of the way, or if it's gone correctly, everyone should be the same color as the tank. So I like to just call for them to come and stack with me in a little blob. Because after that, I'm going to turn them around and go to the other side of the room. So I end up with 2 blobs. So here's 1 blob here, orange. I'm then going to turn the boss and go the other way. There we go. Just take your time. You don't want to smush any circles at this point because it's all gone very well. So always take your time. The only time you need to worry about is losing stacks, and the boss will cast abilities on a timer. So if you do everything correctly, then you shouldn't lose any stacks. So here the melee is blue, so I'm not going to call them in because obviously they have to be the opposite color. So they're just going to have to do their best to keep out of the way. So there is the orange beam. There's the first player. In they come, under the head, nice and tight. They've popped another cooldown because obviously they used their safeguards last time. And we're keeping those 10 stacks. It's important to note that I could have been orange here as well, and you might just end up with 8 orange circles instead of 4 blue and 4 orange at the end of this fight. That's where the RNG of this comes into it. So you might end up with all the stacks falling off the boss in the Stalker phase because he turns blue and you've got 8 orange, and you have to just kind of try and recover and walk him through as many circles as possible to catch up on DPS. But we lucked out here, so we're going to end up with 4 of each color to make Stalker phase nice and easy. So there we go. I think we have 1 more circle left to come. So I'm going to... Oh no, I'm wrong. That's Degauss. So I've called all the blues over to come stack with me here. So there's Degauss. We've got a nice little stack. I'm going to back the boss up here. So he's well out of the both circles, so I can kind of pick and choose where I want to go. So he's orange, so I'm going to run him over to orange. Now, burn phase starts at 13%, and you don't want to hit burn phase in Stalker phase. So at this point, you don't... you just want to keep an eye on his health, because if you've managed to keep your 10 stacks and you're pumping your DPS, you don't want to push him into burn phase. Here I do call for... It does help, definitely does help to have a DWT just in this kind of situation, because he will change colors, and you don't want him to change colors as he's near all these other orange circles. So I think I do call for the DWT just to turn him away from me here. Yeah, there you go. So he's gone blue. DWT saved my ass. I'm gonna... Yeah, so he's 15. We're gonna stop DPSing, hopefully. Yep. Okay, so he's out of Stalker phase. He's at 14. We're just gonna call for him to be burnt, beaten up. Okay, there's burn phase. So everyone gets stunned. It drops to 13. Everyone gets stunned. As you can see, all the colors are overlapping. In burn phase, these circles are fake. They're just trying to trick you and scare you. They won't pop. They won't do anything. They're just there. He is going to cast a red line 180 degrees in front of him. You can't move. You can't taunt during when you're in that phase. So if I as a tank was to taunt in burn phase, he would just one-tap me and then turn around and start eating people. So everyone else needs to be behind the line to avoid taking that. He will still throw out red circles, like red missiles, in this phase. So the way that we deal with that is we have everyone stack up on one leg, because they can now stack, and they will all drop their red circles all in one tiny little spot, and then they'll all move over to the other side and drop the next red circles all over there. So there they go, in a little swarm, staying nice and stacked. So I obviously can't move because I'm on this side of the boss, so don't move, don't taunt. All I can do is hit the boss and pop DCDs. So I'm going to keep eating red circles, and every red circle you get a stack of missile debuff, which says the next one does more. So the healers need to take turns in cleansing the tank here. So they've all gone over here. If you're ranged, you can do like the sorcerer's doing here, where you just stand away from the little party at the boss's back legs and just do your own thing. As long as you're still blasting the boss and staying out of red, it doesn't really matter. So there's the stack, which will get cleansed off of me hopefully soon. There it goes. And they're just moving backwards and forwards. And this burn phase is nice and easy. It's literally just move backwards and forwards. The tank just pops DCDs one at a time to stay alive. And as long as everyone stays out of red and the tank gets cleansed, it's a pretty easy kill. So yeah, there we go. That should be about it. If anyone has any questions, throw it down in the comments. Hopefully this is helpful to someone. Yeah, thanks for watching.